Yes, then EFD squad, and welcome back to the UCL review with me and Doug. It's Beauty and the Beast back at it again. A handsome beast,
thank you.
May I add.
But beastly nonetheless.
Definitely got the hair for it. Get your shoulders out.
Oh, God.
Demean yourself in front of our audience.
There's a lot to see.
Look at that shag pile.
Don't even get started on my back.
100% man. Anyway, talking of men, Manchester City are our first team. They drew with Lyon last night. But can you break down the game for me?
Yes,
that's
I
what
can.
The show's all about, mate.
I can break it down. They secured qualification with that draw from Group F last night with 10 points following their draw away at the Groupama Stadium. And after the game, Pep was very complimentary about Bruno Genesio's men. He says they were one of the toughest sides he's ever faced, and he believes that the suffering that they've experienced in these two ties against the Lyon side will help in their bid to win the UCL in the long run. But suffer is maybe a bit over the top. The stats do reflect more of an even game than City have been accustomed to this season, but suffer is a bit over the top. So far in 18-19, the Citizens have only conceded a measly 1.92 shots per game. That is absolutely mental. And that's even better than last campaign when they conceded 2.3. Last night they conceded 4, so slightly off, although they did manage to test Lopez 6 times themselves. However, the quality of chances Lyon created were far superior. They generated an expected goals of 2 to City's 0.9, so a 2-2 draw. City, some would say, got slightly lucky. And 2 set-piece goals, which we're not used to from this City side, one bit. 22-year-old Ivory Coast international Cornet was the star for Lyon. He hit the woodwork as well as grabbing a double. His first was a real beauty, turning Zinchenko, who probably should have shut him down a bit more, curling into the top corner, and then for the second, Depay put a beautiful through ball through, and he slipped under Edison. He becomes the first player to score at least 3 goals against City in a single UCL campaign since Lionel Messi, so not bad company to keep one bit. In fact, he's now scored 30% of the goals conceded by City in all competitions. They've conceded 10 goals so far, and he's scored 3. Crazy, and this is especially weird considering he hasn't actually been a regular starter for the club. He's made 8 substitute appearances in Ligue 1 for Lyon, but really came to the fore last night in what was a fantastic game by all accounts.
Yeah, and what I liked about the first goal was the initial pass from Ndombele through to Depay before he clips it over to Cornet out on the wing. Really good progressive passing from the midfielder. A big fan of him over here on Euro Football Daily.
Indeed.
But like you said, 2 attack-minded sides going at it like cat and dog in this game. Lyon remain unbeaten after 5 games in the competition for the first time since 2007-8. And City's 2 goals last night makes them top goal scorers in the competition on 14 after 5 games. That's 2 ahead of Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. And that's with Bayern Munich beating Benfica 5-1 last night. Yeah. But it helps when Sergio Aguero is in such fine fettle. He's been fantastic at the start of this season. Last night was his 6th consecutive goal away from home in the Champions League. So really finding form away from home, and it's his 12 goals in all competitions. Only Cristiano Ronaldo has a better record in that regard, so on the road in the competition, with the Portuguese netting an incredible 12 goals away from home on the bounce, which will probably never be surpassed. That is freakish. The uncapped Aymeric Laporte grabbed the equaliser for Manchester City at the death to salvage the point. He's second in 5 UCL games, and he has been a mainstay along with Fernandinho. Probably as important to City as Fernandinho at this point in that 100%. City side at the start of this campaign. Really emerged as their go-to guy in defence, hasn't he? Started all 13 league games so far. That's the same record as he managed over the entirety of last campaign, of course, only arriving in January. But he's really settled now, hasn't he, and shown us what he's made of. In those 13 games, Manchester City have only conceded 5 goals, and 2 of them were penalties that Edison conceded, weren't they? Now, his expected build-up play, which is passes that lead to shots, is 0.8 per game. And you expect it to be high in this City squad. I think John Stones is as high. But these 2 are really rare in world football at current. Sergio Ramos, only 0.4. You've got Bonucci on around 0.6. So these guys, really brave passing, really progressive, cutting through the midfield with really incisive passes. In fact, his pass accuracy last night was 98%.
98?
From 85 passes.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely glorious
That's
stuff
mental.
on Aymeric. Still uncapped.
Yeah,
How have France not capped him? Spain have offered him.
How have they won a World Cup without him as well?
Spain have, scary, isn't it? Spain have offered him a route out. They actually tried to recruit him. He qualifies because obviously played for Bilbao, qualified for Bilbao's recruitment policy through his Basque ancestry. But he said, no, I want to play for the country of my birth. And the idea of him, TT and Varane lining up in a back three is
scary, isn't it?
Is sickening. I want to TC all over Duke, all over his chest. There.
What is the issue? Because lots of people say he doesn't see eye to eye with Deschamps, but I actually don't know enough about the situation. Why has he not been capped yet?
I think it's probably more of a case of other people being in such prolific form. TT, great for Barcelona.
You think he'd at least get a game?
Great for Real Madrid. You think would have been included in the squad. I mean, Jonathan Tah is capped. Other players of that ilk. So I don't know why he isn't. But 24 now, at the height of his powers for Manchester City, would seem, so it's only a matter of time. Is he the best central defender at current, on form in the world? Because for me, he's definitely asking the question. Is between him and Virgil van Dijk, Ramos and Varane have dropped right off.
Yeah, they're so off
that
it, yeah. Umtiti and Piqué aren't playing well either.
Piqué's not having the best start to the season, and Umtiti's had injury problems as well. So I really...
He's got to be in the conversation.
I think he's starting to look like a snip at what, 50, 60 million?
I know, and at the time everyone was like, wow, big move, having only had a couple of years at Athletic Bilbao, starting regularly in La Liga, but looking every bit that, money bargain now. Joe Gomez on current form would have to be up there as well for me. He's played superbly at the start of the season.
He has been
very underrated alongside VVD as well.
Fantastic.
But yeah, who do you guys think is the best defender in the world? Is it Laporte? We're starting to think it might well be. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Right, next up we've got Manchester United, who beat Young Boys 1-0, Christopher.
Filthy beggar. Yes, Marouane Fellaini's 91st minute winner secured a 1-0 victory over Young Boys and sent them through to the last 16. Juventus' 1-0 win over Valencia and Turin ensures that the old lady stays top of the group, 2 points ahead of United. But if United beat Valencia and they slip up against Young Boys, United could go through as group winners, in what we said was an extremely difficult group at the start of the campaign. Yeah, a little bit. It was another unconvincing home performance, let's say, from United. It's their first goal at home in Europe in 275 minutes.
Mental.
And it came in controversial fashion. Old elbows, old protractor elbows. Marouane Fellaini actually controlled the ball with his hand as he brought it down, which went unpunished by the referee. Now, United had been in control but wasteful 100%. Up until that point. Rashford fired over, I think, when he went through one-on-one after 4 minutes, so not great there. And Fellaini blasted over with a goal gaping too, only managing ultimately to get 4 of their 21 shots on target.
That's not good.
Not decisive at all, and that's been United's problem this season. Created less chances than Southampton. My favourite stat of this week's winners and losers.
Didn't know that, love that.
So, not great in the final third. Again, they were indebted to the genius of David De Gea. He didn't face a single shot on target all night before he clawed out Michael Eibschir's efforts.
Great pronunciation.
In the 69th minute. Mourinho again had Lukaku and Pogba on the bench from the off and only introduced them in the 64th. Lukaku subsequently only managing 9 touches in 26 minutes, but did flick the ball on for the winner.
True.
So, played his part. Understandably, he was delighted with the winner, Jose Mourinho. That is throwing water all over the place.
In full Hulk.
Yeah, he did. I think you rarely see that from Jose Mourinho on the touchline. Just an outpour of emotion. He's normally quite dead-faced. He's a man of stone. Remember reading in Zlatan Ibrahimovic's book, he was like, while he was at Inter Milan, he was like, I made it my personal mission to get that man out of his seat in the dugout. But you saw that kind of frustration boil over. He went,
R.I.P. water bottles.
Absolutely DDT'd them. And obviously came out in his outspoken fashion. It's becoming habitual this season, isn't it? After the game, more shithousery saying, I just want to say for the ones that love the stats, 14 times in the Champions League, 14 times qualified through the group stage. The season I didn't play in the Champions League, I won the Europa League.
Although you do have to slightly temper that with the fact that he's managed Man United, Chelsea, Real Madrid and Inter I know you did.
And
you got
Porto.
And Porto,
Who
true.
always make it through to the last
But
16.
come on, you should get through. You should qualify out of the group with those sort of teams. I don't think that's that
I
impressive.
guess
Jose.
just no major slip-ups, which...
I mean, that
you
consistency
can't knock that
is,
consistency
it's
in the Champions
impressive.
League,
I'm not overwhelmed by it. But Mourinho, you can use what you like, really. But on to young boys. They've only picked up 1 point from their UCL campaign so far, and they've scored 2 in 5 games, which isn't great at all. They're averaging 2.8 shots on target per game, with only Red Star and AEK Athens, who we'll get onto in due course, averaging less. So they've not been great in front of goal. But their defence, credit to them, has been okay. They've conceded 14.4 shots per game, which doesn't sound great. But that's fewer than PSV, Lyon, Inter, Valencia, and their opponents last night, Man United. So it's not all bad. And they can return to domestic football where they're already 16 points clear, with their heads held high and romp to another league title. But going back to United, the key players on the night, it's quite difficult to pick out, any, major performances out of this kind of tepid performance. Fred played all right. He hasn't actually played for United since being subbed off on 55 minutes against Bournemouth on the 3rd of November. But he had an 89% pass accuracy, made 2 tackles and interceptions, won an aerial duel, completed a dribble, made 2 key passes and 2 shots. I wanted to do a quick shout out to young boys' 21-year-old Guinean centre-back Mohamed Kamara. Only his fifth appearance for the club, he kept Rashford largely quiet, and he made 9 tackles and interceptions, which shows also the flow of the game. United were very much on top without really carving out too many clear-cut opportunities. But man of the match has to go to the match winner Fellaini. 5 aerials, 3 key passes, 2 shots, and including the winner, obviously. And that's his 3rd 90th plus winner this season after that goal against Derby in the EFL Cup and against Juventus last time out in the Champions League. Date for the diary for the United fans, the 12th of December. They go to Valencia and take on them in the Mestalla. Could they finish as the most undeserving group winners of all time? It looks like, you probably expect Juventus to get over the line against young boys away, but it could well happen. United fans, are you satisfied with your Champions League campaign so far? You please just get out of the group, or are you expecting more from your team, particularly at home against Swiss opposition? Let us know what you guys think in the comments below.
Our final match is Roma against Real Madrid at the Stadio Olimpico, where the reigning European champions ran out winners. Was it deserved?
It was deserved. They got the job done in the end. They won 2-0, but it was a slightly cagey affair, to be honest, and obliterated any hope of Roma qualifying as group winners because they needed to win this game to qualify as group winners. But they've both gone through. Real Madrid as the top seed. The only chances in the first half actually fell the Giallorossis' way. Carvajal made a superb block, which prevented Schick from opening his European account. I read this morning he's played 9 games in European competition in the Europa League and Champions League and is yet to score.
Not having a great time of it in the league.
Not having a great time of it at all. And moments before half-time, it was a shocker from Cengiz Ünder. We were talking about it in the office this morning and, trying to think of a worse miss in European football.
Kid.
He blasted over the bar from, it must have only been about 4 or 5 yards out with the goal, completely free. Courtois was at the near post. It was absolutely, Sitter doesn't do it justice, to be honest. Gareth Bale opened the scoring, though, just after the restart. It was a bit of a show from Roma. It was a poor clearance by Olsen, and Federico Fazio then tried to header it back to him. But didn't see Bale was 5 yards offside, but obviously can't be offside from a header back. He then gifted the Welshman the chance to score with his left foot into the bottom left corner. After the hour, Real Madrid made the game safe. Lucas Vasquez tapping in from a yard or so out after Benzema flicked the ball on. Despite having 17 shots, though, and matching Real's XG of 1.8, Roma couldn't find a breakthrough. They were without Edin Dzeko for this game, and it really told, once again. And the game sort of just petered out, really, at the Stadio Olimpico. But it wasn't really what was happening on the pitch that was the biggest talking point of the night, Christopher. It was who was left off it. Yeah, Roma really struggling without Edin Dzeko. 5 goals in 4, really overperforming in the Champions League for them this term. But yes, to go back to your final point, Isco was once again left out of Santiago Solari's squad. The Spaniard is yet to start under the new boss, having only accumulated 78 minutes. Now, the 26-year-old was a key part of the squad under Julen Lopetegui and was a pretty
fervent defender of his towards the end of his tenure. He started
100%.
8 games during that time, scored 2, assisted 2, and was averaging 1.8 key passes a game. That was the second in the squad behind Marcelo. Second highest, and 1.3 dribbles per game, also second to Marcelo in that regard. So he
Marcelo
was
on fire.
productive. He was really productive under Lopetegui. So there must be more at play behind the scenes as to why he doesn't quite fit into Solari's squad, or his starting 11 at the very least. Now, when asked, Solari was elusive. He said he's working well, but I count on the other 23 men in the squad as much as I count on him.
Classic media answer.
But when Marcelo was quizzed about his answer, it was a little bit more eye-opening, let's say. He said he's working... Marcelo said, every player wants to play, but you have to work hard. We're all adults and we know what we have to do, which maybe points towards a poor attitude in training, a lack of application on that front. Marcos Llorente started in this game, while Asensio and Fed Valverde, the 22-year-old Uruguayan, yet to start for the first team, he came on. Other options on that night included Vinicius Jr. and Dani Ceballos. So is Solari starting to trust the players he's worked with in the youth side more so than the first team? We know that the first team have been accused of being toxic in the past. Sergio Ramos obviously wields a lot of power at the club, something that Florentino Perez has said that he's not comfortable with at this point, and he kind of wants to regain a bit of control from the dressing room, and that's why he wanted to bring in a disciplinarian like Antonio Conte. That didn't come to fruition, so now he's got Solari, who has to be a bit of a diplomat there because he's got ties at the club, he's been there a long time. So maybe that's playing a part. Maybe Isco, this is essentially the hierarchy slapping him down a little bit, teaching him a lesson.
It's slightly worrying though, because if he's only there, we expect Solari to be moved on this summer, and
despite signing a 3-year contract.
Despite signing a 3-year contract, but you don't want to alienate a player like Isco so badly that he's, because I can't think of a top club that wouldn't want Isco in their squad. At least, all the top 6 in the Premier League would love a player of Isco's quality. So he needs to be careful about how much he uses Isco, because otherwise, no matter who comes in the summer, he might be like, get stuffed. I've had a horrible, horrible year.
Well, for me, it's really puzzling because of the profiles of the rest of the midfielders too. Toni Kroos is actually turning 29 in January. I said he was 30, 31 because he was moving like a 31-year-old out of the World Cup about 2 weeks ago on Continental Club. And Luka Modric is 32, 33, isn't he? So, and this is really when Isco should be enjoying his most fertile period.
100%. And he's played well in the past for Real Madrid as well.
The peak of his powers, yeah. And he was great in that sort of 4-3-1-2 for Zidane, wasn't he, last season? So he's great in that number 10 position. Always been a fantastic creator. So yeah,
we're kind of baffled.
Odd, but what do you guys think of the whole Isco scenario? Would you take him at your club? Where should he go? How should the situation peter out?
Rescue him.
Let us know in the comments below.
Right, we don't normally do this, but we thought it was worth mentioning the disgusting scenes that took place in Athens last night.
Yeah, but a really violent week in football, hasn't
100%.
it? First the Copa Libertadores final, and now this, and there's absolutely no place for it in the beautiful game. So AK versus Ajax last night, there was a petrol bomb thrown at the game. What is that all about? With police clashing with fans as well. Home supporters reportedly throwing flares into the away section, leading to fires burning in the away section next to the travelling Dutch fans. There was photos of police hitting fans, blood smeared across their faces and on their kits. It affected play as well. Not that that's more important than people's safety, but smoke just consuming the pitch.
100%.
The leaks coming over, trying to calm down the home fans and the away fans. It's just all very unnecessary. You grown men, get a grip.
Yeah, 100%. But, on the pitch, there was still a game going on despite these scenes. The game wasn't abandoned. Ajax comfortably beat their Greek opponents, who were reduced to 10 men, with 2 goals from Dusan Tadic. That means Tadic has now got 3 goals in 5 UCL appearances this term, and it's actually been a fantastic season for the 30-year-old Serb. He's now scored 10 and assisted 5 in 18 games for Ajax, since joining from Southampton, obviously, last summer.
Imagine that, swapping a relegation battle spearheaded by Mark Hughes for Europe's elite competition and doing really well in it. It's almost as if they shouldn't have fucking sold Tadic.
Well done, Tadic. Fair enough. And it actually heaps further embarrassment on AEK. They can't get it right on the pitch, and they certainly can't get it right off the pitch. They're now pointless from their 5 games with a goal difference of -10 after 5 games. Good news for Ajax, though. They are through to the last 16 for the first time since 2005.
Wow.
Which I was pretty surprised about. But it's not been a good period of dominance for the Dutch teams in the Champions League at all. And if they beat Bayern at home in their next game, they could qualify as group winners, which isn't out of the question after I think they drew with Bayern away.
They slapped them about, though.
Yeah, 100%, and dominated that game. So well done, Ajax. AEK Athens, you should be embarrassed with yourselves. Sort yourselves out.
So that's the end of UCL review until tomorrow, when this video will be appearing on Football Daily. Doogie, what else is happening around the Football Daily universe?
Come back tonight. We are doing another UCL watch-along,
Yeah,
Liverpool PSG. I'm actually not on the sofa, but Chris and a few others are. I'm going to Spurs Inter Milan at Wembley, so maybe I'll do a call-in from them, especially for the watch-along.
Watch out for the Instagram stories.
Always
Good value.
lively.
And as ever, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.